Remember when Let's Plays were a huge thing? People sitting in front of their PC, recording some gameplay for 10 minutes or even 15 minutes later on when YouTube changed the allowed length of a video while talking about the game or random stuff and just uploading it like that, with no editing whatsoever most of the time. One game that 90% of Let's Players played during the time was Cat Mario.
How's it going, Res? My name is Pie, and welcome to Cat Mario. Yes.
Which is actually called Show No Action. It was perfect for Let's Players because it had lots of random things happening that would lead to funny moments or deaths that gave it the perfect rage potential where you can scream into the microphone to blow people's eardrums out with your low quality microphone. It's basically a deconstruction of Mario, Mario's very own Neon Genesis Evangelion or Madoka Magica. Instead of jumping onto platforms, the platforms fall onto you. Using a mushroom is actually a bad thing and so on. Everything you learn in Mario is useless here and gets turned around. Okay, time to stop being pretentious and actually talk about the most random or also most random game on WiiWare, Post Big Adventure, a WiiWare game that only released in Japan. Why did I talk about Show No Action? Because this game is kinda just like that, with all the unfair difficulty, for the most part. Your girlfriend gets kidnapped and now it's up to you to rescue her. Sounds familiar, right? With the exception that your girlfriend is actually your girlfriend, unlike in Mario. I see way too many people still thinking Peach should date Mario just because he saves her all the time, which is a nice thing to do, but how many firefighters actually marry a lady that they have rescued? Probably not that many. They must have a whole harem with how many people they save sometimes. They don't though, because that's just not how life works. It's the most basic jump and run possible. You walk from the left to the right and can jump and even shoot your gun and upgrade it to make it even more powerful. Wow. It's so basic that you can't even go backwards. It's just how things were back in the day. Most of the time, once you go to the right, you can never come back from it. It's like making a decision that you can't take back in life that will change your life forever. For the better or for the worse, maybe. You won't know till you decide. And then at that point, it will already be too late. But you know what? Do what you feel is right, perhaps. Actually, don't listen to me. I don't want to be responsible for ruining someone's life. I already wound mine too much, but is life that's still alive really wound? There's still always ways to come back from that and start anew. So, what's so special about this game? Like I said earlier, it does a lot of these silly gags like this mushroom right here. You think taking it is a good idea? Then you fought wrong. You grow too big and die. That's what you get for introducing one of the worst Mario power-ups ever. New Super Mario Bros. DS. You get made fun of by a WiiWare game that only released in Japan that nobody knows about even there, unlike you with your silly huge sales numbers. I'm sorry if I hurt anyone who actually liked the Mega Mushroom in that game, but the Blue Koopa shell was so much better. It even predicted Mario Maker here and makes fun of the broken aspects of older games. It's funny how people nowadays always say back in the day you bought a game and it just worked, because it's not really true. There have always been broken games, but back then you didn't have the information you have nowadays. We live in the age of information where your brain is constantly getting new information about everything every single second, because that's just what happens when you browse the internet. You soak in so many things that you otherwise would have never seen without the internet. Games like Gollum or the shovelware King Kong game would have never become such a big thing if people didn't have social media and shared all the broken aspects with funny clips all over it. It would have been just a tiny little text in a video game magazine that would have made fun of the game without anything more. The game has 100 of these little gags, some fairly well hidden and some that are really obvious to see and find. In the bottom right you can see the Neta counter, which counts the amount of gags you have seen. What does Neta stand for? That's a good question. Next question please. Some of these gags can only be found on the second playthrough. It also changes a couple of other things about the game, like in some other classic games like Zelda 1 with its second quest. At the end of every world there's a boss. Some of them are fearful creatures like this Shiba Inu, and some of them are really cute and tame like this big tiger. But they're all extremely easy because that's the joke, unless you play through the second time. After beating the bosses, you also get to see your girlfriend in different forms, because just like in Mario Land, enemies turn into your girlfriend to prank you. Yep, your princess is in another castle. Nowadays, that kind of gaming humor kinda gets you called cringe and lame, but back in the day, all of this gamer humor was just hip. And somehow I miss it sometimes. Imagine you go outside to do your grocery shopping and you spot someone and he unironically wears a shirt that says, "We gamers don't die, we respawn." What would you think? Would you think, holy shit, that's cringe as hell? Would you think it's actually cool as heck? Or would you just not pay it any mind? For me it's a mix out of all three. I personally would never wear something like that, but I think it's impressive that someone would wear it proudly and show it off, despite most people thinking he will be a total loser for it. And in the end, it doesn't matter. If he's fine with it, who cares? We all judge things in our minds when we see them, and that's totally fine, as long as you're not an asshole about it, right? If you would go to him and tell him his shirt sucks, that's the real cringe. And that's the whole game basically. You walk around and just get surprised by what's gonna happen next and what kind of reference or just random humor the game will throw at you. Some gags will make you actually giggle or smile. Then there's some that make you get off the couch and point at the screen to say, look, I understood that pop culture reference, I'm such a nerd, hehe. Others will make you think, what does it even mean, since you most likely won't understand Japanese. Unlike me, I watch enough anime to perfectly speak and understand Japanese, so you won't really understand the text that sometimes appears or the announcer that the game has. Unless you watch a lot of anime. Then there's gags that will make you sit there and think, why? Just like Cat Mario, it also turns your deaths into gags which you can't really avoid unless you know they're coming. Just minding your own business and walking around and suddenly you die because of this one cactus here that's actually an object that kills you if you touch it, unlike any of the others. Same with a certain coconut tree. But the thing is, you want to see those deaths because they're gags. You will try to pick up anything suspicious looking even if it may kill you, because you're never in actual danger of getting a game over because the game gives you so many lives and even a 7-up. Which I never had in my life, but I guess it's the same as Sprite, even though I googled the difference between 7-Up and Sprite and people say they actually do have different distinct tastes. So now I'm unsure, I only drink a Sprite like once a year, it just kinda hits differently when you only drink it so rarely, but it goes with most soft drinks. On the topic though, I can also say that I always thought that Skittles are the same thing as M&M's, till I actually tried out Skittles and realized they're pretty fruity. Like me, and inferior to M&M's. I really want some now, or Smarties. The game has also betrayed me more than my wife did when she got a sudden divorce and left with the kids without me even having a chance to ever see them again. I miss you, Mike and Sarah, please send me a letter or something one day. Towards the very end of the game, you will find a couple of pipes, and if you go through one of them, you would send back all the way to the start of the game pretty much. Funny joke, right? I guess I just have to die or beat that level and can go back to the end of the game again, right? Nope, not right. Obviously a throwback to the real Mario 2 and its lost levels, where there's warp pipes that can send you back to earlier worlds, but at least in that game they even let you mercy kill yourself with a little hole. Here it's just so over. At this point I got up and went for a walk to enjoy the scenery of nature and get some fresh air and realized, haven't we all been here at that point in our lives? Getting so close to success, but right when you want to grab onto it, it just gets out of view and everything you worked for was for nothing. Except if you use it as a learning experience and a valuable lesson that regardless of how hard you try sometimes, it will still end up as a loss. Should you try again after or just let it go? In the end, those questions can only be answered by yourself only, mostly by your desire of how much you really want to achieve what you wanted to achieve. In my case, I just let it go. Pode's Big Adventure bested me, and that's fine. Sometimes things just don't work out. Even when I learned you can just select the stage again from the main menu, I told myself no, I would not do that. The game bested me, I will let the game have its victory or else it would all for nothing. It's a lot like in another video game, which I won't name for spoiler reasons. At the true end you get asked if you want to delete your own save file to help out other players in the game, because that's what they did for you if you requested help, which you most likely will do. So now it's up to you to think, okay, what do I do? I personally chose to delete my save file to help out others because it just felt right in that moment. It was a really emotional experience, like a roller coaster. I love roller coasters, and I think I did the right thing, even though I wanted to get all achievements and all that before I put the game back onto its shelf. But imagine someone thinking, nah, I'm gonna get all achievements and see the rest of the game on the save file first and then come back and then sacrifice my save file. It just doesn't hit the same way if you delete your file then. It feels meaningless. Either you sacrifice it at that moment or you should just stop playing it after you got 100% without doing the ending sequence again to then delete your save file. Pode's Big Adventure felt just like that after going through the pipe. Other people would just go back into the stage select and choose the stage again to now beat the game, but not me. It would lose the punishment factor of trusting a random pipe. If I ever want to beat it, then I have to restart from the start, because that's what I deserve and also what the game deserves, and maybe one day I will do that, but that day will be a long time away. Would the game have succeeded if it would have gotten a translation? Probably not, because how many Wii owners do you know that actually bought WiiWare games and not just virtual console games? Not that many, I assume. And nowadays the only way to play it is on an emulator or homeboot Wii, since it never got released on any other platforms. I had to play it on Dolphin, since I'm too dumb to make region-locked regions work on my homeboot Wii, mostly because I was too lazy to look up how to. Maybe I was able to make you interested in the game, so go play it if I succeeded so you can find all the gags it has to offer for yourself. But before that, you can like the video or even subscribe to the channel if you liked it. Normally I don't like saying that, but recently YouTube had this update that makes your buttons blink when you say those words, so it would help YouTube recognize my voice, so when you hear these words, the buttons will blink up in RGB lightning. Actually, kinda scary to think about that AI can so easily recognize certain words and make stuff like this happen. I'm not the best speaker though, so maybe it won't recognize my words because of it. Good night or good morning.